Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Monday the 30th of November 2023. This is episode 281. Apologies if I sound a bit croaky. I completely lost my voice last week, Damon, and that coincided right with a double dose of parents' evening. So I was just like croaking at them like, "Oh, your child's done." It was not good. It was not a good sound, but I think I've got most of it back. So raring to go and preview World Tag League and all the exciting, wonderful stuff happening in Shinyon.
I love it. Listen, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know the vocal cords were in jeopardy here today, but I'm glad. Maybe we'll get one song out of you tonight. maybe a little jingle from an English
Joey Janela ice cream advert.
I hope that would be fantastic.
No, Janela.
Go ahead. Keep going.
That's all the only bit I can remember. Aww. Italian ice cream.
This is the 90s, right? This is in the 90s. You're tapping.
Yeah, no one's going to get this reference at all. Where's that ever stopped me before?
I was about to say, half your jokes are that. I had to look up some of your references. Like, oh, okay. I don't know who the fuck he's talking about. Yes. Well, very good. Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, fuck faces listening.
Hello, you enormous pieces of shit.
You fucking
parasites.
Pigs. Miserable fucking pigs. Hey, it's World Tag League. It's I was going to say it's an exciting time, but let's be honest here, it's really not. But it is leading up to the end of the year with all the fun of Wrestle Kingdom, all the fun of year-end awards, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, Jolie Khan, but you have arranged, once again, the annual tradition of us having a nice little holiday while others steer the ship into the cliff.
Yeah, so Louis wrote said that there are still plans for you guys to take a break during World Tag League. If so, have you found suitable guests to take over the podcast? So I was very excited to receive an email from Lawrence and Evelyn, who are, I know we're not supposed to have favourites. They're amongst my favourites in terms of guest hosts. So they are up for doing it. And as they were the first people to reach out, I said they can have first pick. Like, they can pick which shows they want to do because first come, first served. And I love listening to them. They're tremendous. Boo's definitely still keen. I'm trying to see if J. Michael will do it again because I always enjoy listening to him. He's probably one of the most, got his finger on the pulse in terms of New Japan. So now I have sort of backed myself into a corner with something because I was listening to the Voices of Wrestling flagship and heard Rich and Joe, I wouldn't say talking shit, it was done sort of affectionately about World Tag League and us taking a break during World Tag League.
What'd they say?
And then Joe was just sort of messing with him. He was just like, I heard that you and Joel are going to do a collaboration show together and cover World Tag League. And Rich was just sort of like joking, being like, yeah, that's right. But I've listened, I pulled him up on that. I was like, no, you've committed to this now. You have to do it. So he's agreed to do it. He said he will. So I tried to pick like the worst possible show. So I will do a show during World Tag League with Rich.
Okay.
Again, you are very welcome to join. We'd love you to join, but if you want to take that break, that's fine. So we'll get on to World Tag League, but at the moment I'm looking at this show, which is Thursday, November 29th in Kanagawa, with a main event of Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols against Yujiro and Evil. I think that will be a good one for a deep dive. That's also Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see. Any suggestions for what show me and Rich do? Let me know, because I think it should be like a top to bottom, like reviewing every single match from the young lions to the main event.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
Yeah, make them really think about what he says. Words have impact and words have meaning, and and we're gonna not only we're gonna hold you to it, we're gonna make you suffer. I'll have to look.
And it's mutual suffering. It's mutually assured destruction. I'm throwing myself under the bus as well. We're both going down, Rich. But
yeah, well, that's good. That's good. We got some.
That's how I roll.
We got some A-listers. We got a nice little lineup there. I like that. I like that this is a tradition. I like that. Pardon the pun, but you do hear new voices, except aside from us. I'm glad that you're taking a bullet, right? And I like that. I like it all. I like the fact that I'm not going to do shit. I love that. Fantastic news for me. I think it's good. I think it's a good, well-deserved little break, and it's fun, and other people can get involved. And yes, perfect. Rich, sorry,
we need it.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Rich is an A-lister. Let's be honest here. Rich is an A-lister. Anything that anytime he can make an appearance, and even that Joe Lanza as well. Anytime, it's always good radio. It's always a good podcast, right? Always an enjoyable listen, thought-provoking and fun and honest. And so, no, it'll be fantastic. And my favorite team from Montreal, I enjoy listening to so much, and I look forward to every year. So I'm thrilled to have them back. And I know our listeners absolutely adore them as well. So I think that, and they sound professional. That's what I really like. They just sound like a fucking well-oiled professional broadcasting team. And they're willing to do our dumb podcast and talk about probably the dregs of pro wrestling. That they're willing to sacrifice time to do that. It means a lot to me. And then Booze and J Mike, that's fantastic. What a lineup we got. Booze always comes through too. Like, there's never a time that we don't send out a call that she's on board. And again, a great, thoughtful, interesting, fun, entertaining team. Her
and acerbic. She just does not pull any punches.
No,
she will just take people to the cleaners.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Yep,
so
absolutely. So you know what? I look forward to it every year, just because I don't have to do shit. But it's also really good and fun, and for you, the listener, it's a treat, a little treat, an annual tradition from the Super J Broncast. Love it.
And that's not to say it's all filled up. Like, if you're interested in doing it, please shoot me a direct message on Twitter or Discord or whatever, because I'm just scrolling through. There seems to be about 48 shows during this tour, so I'm sure we can squeeze in plenty of people there. So, like as I said, maybe we do deserve a break, and maybe that is showing in our content, because Sean writes in and says, why do you keep doing episodes if you're obviously not enjoying the product? However, on the other hand, Derek says, last podcast was great. You always voice how I feel about the product. Lonestar Shootout looked awful, not from a production standpoint, but from I remember when the lights were on and there were people at this thing standpoint. How are we on staying positive? And look, I've spoken to Sean. I'm not calling him out directly.
I am.
But
he's
you
lucky.
are.
I'm being very honest. He's fucking lucky I didn't get a hold of him, because it was 2 steps away, and I was just going to fucking unleash him, because I am in no fucking mood. And I was this close to blowing the whole fucking thing up and strapping the bomb onto his chest. Trust me. Lucky. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yes. Well, anyway, I was a bit, crotchety as well, but I will say, like, we have a duty to do this podcast to be honest, right? Never going to say that stuff is great if I think it's shit, and vice versa. So, and I think we, for the most part, speak. I don't want to do this, but speak for the fact. I would say more often than not, our opinions tend to align with what the fandom at large thinks. Right?
Oh, you missed something. So, the smart fandom, the intelligent fandom. Yeah. Okay. Good. Continue.
We're not saying everything is bad, right? this is what frustrates us is we know the company is capable of great stuff like that. Brilliant main event we discussed last time, Shota versus Ospreay, bona fide match of the year candidate. Like, there is some amazing stuff going on that we will quite rightly throw the flowers at. But, you know, there are legitimate concerns about the direction of the company, which, you know, may come up on today's show. Maybe. We'll see. But we owe it to you, dear listener, to be honest about that.
Yes.
Regardless of who we know is listening. And I know sometimes that sort of criticism comes across as like, you don't like this thing, or you dislike this thing that I like, so you should stop doing the podcast. And I don't know if that's necessarily how it was intended, but I think it's important that we can engage with this product that we love critically and not hold it to the same low bar of other wrestling promotions, because we know it can be great and it should be great.
You know what? You are the most intelligent man I know, and you say things so eloquently and tactfully, and you deliver it with a smoothness and a grace that is really fantastic. Now, I'm the opposite.
Keep going. I like that.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. But I'm going to try to emulate my hero, Jolie Khan. Listen, there are no other people on planet Earth that want this promotion to be as great as it possibly can than yours truly and the man who's on the other side of the microphone. Right?
Yeah, let's so we forget we are rapidly approaching episode 300.
Yeah.
281 episodes in the bank of this fucking podcast. Right. We want it to be good, guys.
Yeah. No one wants it to be good more than us. Trust me. I pray to the gods of wrestling up above in swaddling clothes to please make this product as great as it can be. Now, I know criticism has been thrown our way of being overly negative. Okay. Maybe people have a case for that, right? Yet, we also have the same criticism on the other side of the coin of we're fanboys and we're rah-rah and pom-poms and cheerleaders and New Japan could do no wrong. And I've always said that I'm perfectly comfortable being in that position because that means we're doing something great. Now, not only are we massive fans of a product that we know can be great that is not hitting the mark, also, we love the fact that we can sit here and talk about it and also provide an entertaining, thought-provoking conversation that can extend to you, dear listener, using your head and coming up with your own thoughts and opinions off of that. And maybe we have you see something that maybe you didn't notice, or maybe it helps reaffirm an opinion you already have, or maybe you see the complete opposite side of the coin, and we will never shit on you for coming to the table with, again, a different opinion. That's not the issue. But to sit there and
I like to call that one the Hinari disconnect.
Okay, yes, fine, yes. I mean, look, I like certain pro wrestlers that Joel doesn't, and vice versa. I mean, those numbers are you could probably count them on one hand, but there are situations where that happens, and that is totally fucking okay. Keep in mind why we do this show. We do the show A, again, because we love the product. B, we would love to see it succeed and be as great as it can be, and C, we enjoy producing an entertaining show that people can laugh, people can get angry at, people can have opinions formed, or that's what this is for. This is not just a boring fucking dull ass. Look, I guarantee you that there are people that are incredibly knowledgeable about pro wrestling, but God bless them. If you sit through 15 minutes of a fucking podcast, it is torturous, right? Torturous. They're about as entertaining as a fucking pair of socks, right? We're good at what we do, okay? Let's just fucking lay it out on the line. We're fucking good. And we're the best that you got. Right? Okay? So go fuck. Never mind. You know, I'm not going to go there. But that's the truth. That's what we do. So that is why we do the podcast. When it seems like we, and I'll put in air quotes, hate the product. It's really about having a conversation about the product and the state it's in, and honest opinions. Thank you.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start with a nice, easy one. That's not going to get you riled up. Boo says, please tell Uncle Damon about the latest battle between Clout Demon Kieran and TV Asahi. We need his instant reaction. Now, I can't give you instant reaction because we have already discussed this one off the air. But this is... So I think a lot of people listening will know Kieran RH. He does... What does he do? Lots
Kisses
of
wrestlers' asses is what I understand.
Lots of Twitter content, on this day this happened, GIFs and all that stuff. And it seems like there appears to be, like, in my headcanon, an entire department of TV Asahi specifically employed to stop him from posting anything related to New Japan. Every time he posts a GIF or a video or a screenshot, bang, the DMCA come down hard and fast. But I didn't know this. He revealed on our Discord that they blocked his New Japan World account, won't let him sign up for a new one, and have ignored all his emails asking for help.
Oh my God. That is the most preposterous thing I have ever heard in my entire life. It's like, seriously, that's confirmed as being accurate. So what he's saying is, and again, I'm saying it just so I can actually have it rattle around my big, squishy, dumb head. New Japan World and TV Asahi has decided to have a personal blocking of his account and any attempts based off of his IP address, I'm gathering, to sign up for an account on New Japan World. Is this accurate?
Yeah, so he's had to set up an account on an anonymous burner account because he promotes too much of their content for their liking, so they won't let him pay money for their products.
Unfucking believable. What planet are we on? It's unbelievable. Look, I don't know him. I see him about. He is a name that I can't pronounce, but yet I am familiar with. He loves the product. I understand copyrights and all that stuff. He's not making a dime off of this, is he? Like, it's not like he's like selling bootleg fucking tapes. Holy shit. I'm flabbergasted. I am absolutely blown away that a company who needs every fucking ounce of fandom to get behind a product that is struggling, to say the least, and they're going to go out of their way. And again, I'm going to be very clear. They're going out of their way to block this guy's IP address from signing up to the, and I put in air quotes, new and improved New Japan World, which honestly is a bigger hunk of shit than it was before.
No, don't. We'll get there. That's the next topic.
Okay,
please.
I'm sorry. Okay. I've never been more embarrassed to be a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, if that is an accurate situation that is happening. I've never been more embarrassed in my entire... Can you imagine any other league, sports entity doing that? Can you... The National Football League. The National Football League here in the United States is a $1 billion operation with TV rights that would make any pro wrestling company piss their pants if they got that kind of money. It's commonplace. Any given Sunday, you will see screenshots and GIFs and comments and commentary. Can you imagine the NFL being like, no, we're gonna shut the NHL, NBA, baseball, Premier League? I can understand that you want to block like illegal streaming. Of course, right? Makes sense. I can understand that you want to block pirating and torrents of your shows. Sure, of course. We're not dumb. I mean, it's you're chasing the dragon, but look, that's technology. But that's another conversation for another day. To share screenshots, GIFs, 2 seconds. How long did it? I mean, what's the longest GIF you've ever seen? Maybe a minute, right? If that. And it's not like he's giving away finishes for important shows. Like, he's only helping you. And yet, as Junior would say from The Sopranos, I extend my hand and you slap it away. Right? Well, that's exactly what's happening. Well, then I give everyone permission to come heavy. How about that?
Bravo. Okay, then let's go to New Japan World. So Antonio says, Thogus on this NJPW World update. Not better than Wrestle Universe, but pretty good Thogus. Second question is, are guys a Fortniteller since you guys, some stuff that actually Reliazized, including Benfica's season and Casio Fernandez, Revolt to Chelsea, and Good Scoops. Did you guys also predict the future? Look, Antonio, if the New Japan podcast doesn't work out, I'll do a football one, and it will be just as good, if not better. And the Positive Wrestling fan says, how awful NJPW World app is. Seriously, you search Osprey and no results found. Search Okada, 2 things come up.
Did I not predict this? Did I not say that this will they've had how long to figure this out? Who's coding these fucking websites and app? They are the worst. Who are they getting for this? This is like, I thought like this was a country and a place where coding and technology and they're on the forefront and they have access. They are the fucking worst. I cannot imagine how that could get green lighted and be like, okay, let's release this. Two results come up with maybe your most important wrestler over the past 10, 15 years. It is just an absolute, it is Eddie Kingston levels of hunks of shit.
What has been your personal experience using it? Because I
used it for 15 minutes.
To be honest,
good.
I'm not a guy who I don't sort of dig into the archives. I know people are upset.
I couldn't find them.
That has been right. Yeah, all that stuff's gone, and they say it will be up by the end of next year.
Jesus
I believe
Christ.
that when I see it. I don't care for, but I completely get why people are upset about it. But I tried to watch Lone Star Shootout, and it split it into episodes where each match was a different episode. But then every time a match finished and I tried to go to the next one, it would have an error message saying that I was running too many accounts at the same time. So maybe someone's got my login account and I'm not aware of that. But it was not a net positive for me so far anyway.
It is horrific. Joel, obviously, I'm a big fan of watching the classics, right? And I was kind of curious to see maybe if they got some new stuff. Maybe they got some, maybe they released stuff that they already owned and they decided to finally get it up there. I couldn't even tell you where it was. Like, there's new stuff. There's what was it? New stuff, and then it was it recommended stuff. It was the same, but it was the same stuff. I could watch. I couldn't watch if I had a VPN. I obviously could, but I could watch the AEW show. that was the first thing it recommended for me, as a matter of fact. But it says only available in Japan, which is again another just unbelievably great. Look, I don't know. Look, whoever is in charge of this is just a boob, just an absolute boob. It is a nightmare to navigate. It is a nightmare to find things. Obviously, Ospreay 1, Okada 2. It's embarrassing. Once again, New Japan Pro Wrestling leading the way in shitting the bed. Now, could you imagine? And again, we're talking about millions, if not billions of dollars difference between revenue that like a WWE would bring in as opposed to a New Japan. But that being said, for those of you who have the Rev Pro streaming service, or may have dabbled a little bit in the Ring of Honor streaming service, I don't ever remember having as many issues finding content than I do with this new version. It's amazing when the old version is 1,000 times better than the new version, and the old version was a steaming pile of shit to begin with. It's just embarrassing. Look, I would have no problem if they were like, hey, you know what? I know we said that we're going to release this thing on Tuesday, but it's really not ready for prime time. We're gonna wait another week, see if we can iron out some bugs, blah, blah, blah. Or how about this? This is a novel concept, Joel. We have a lot of very smart, technically savvy listeners and people who know their way around coding a website and the technology is involved in streaming, which uses a connectivity protocol called UDP. I don't know if you knew that. I'm studying cybersecurity. I don't know. It's a connectionless, or excuse me, not a connectionless, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's not looking for a handshake, so to speak. It's just giving out the information in the packets, Joel, as opposed to TCP, is it? That looks for that connection. Anywho, we have very smart people, very intelligent people, even in our Discord, right? Even in our Discord. How about setting up like a little beta test? Little beta testers kind of give you the bugs, right? Report them back. Get a little, maybe a couple months free for their time and trouble and no. Why would they do that, Joel? Why would they even think about doing that? Why would they not just reach out and say, hey, you know what? I know you got a lot of smart cookies, hanging out in your Discord. A lot of intelligent folk. You mind doing a little beta test for us? No, of course not. Of course. And if they did do that, then I don't know. They probably give it to like a fucking assisted living facility. The website looks great. Look at all these pictures. That's my imitation of an old person in an assisted living home. I pooped my pants and they smell like baby powder. That's terrible. It's not even funny. I'm laughing at that though.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm talking about old people in assisted living homes pooping their pants. Anyway, it stinks, Joe. It's terrible, and I hate it, and I don't like it, and just another fuck up.
Add it to the list.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you, my working theory is that the reason they've done this this new New Japan World is because in this one you can't screenshot stuff. If you take a screenshot, then it's just black.
Are you kidding me?
They've introduced this specifically to foil Kieran. Just bringing the
conversation
full circle.
Seriously, is that true? Like, because I know there's like, there are like, like training sites, where you can learn all kinds of different technologies and stuff, and a couple of them do that because they don't want their shit pirated. I can get that, and they're afraid of like, somebody playing a video and recording it and then up on a torrent site. I get that. I understand that, but you can't even do a screenshot of anything on that site. Is that what you're saying?
I think this is when you're using the mobile app. If you do, like on the iPhone, if you do the screenshot function,
yep,
yeah, it will just come out black.
Oh Lordy Lou, it's unbelievable. Look, I'm not saying anybody would want to or should do something like this, but boy, it would be a real shame if some bad actors just decided to take their frustrations out. Oh, just burn it to the fucking ground. Come on, you end mappers. Come on, you meta. I'm just rattling off cybersecurity terms. Oh boy. Well, look. Once again, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. They don't get it. They do not get it. I understand their concerns of piracy and all that, and well, fine. But screenshots and Twitter and all that is just, it's so embarrassing. It's unbelievable. And here's the thing: I understand it's their intellectual property, and Japan has very different, we'll call it, laws and interpretations of that, and I respect that. But if you want to be an international company and you want to grow your product, I'm just saying this is the stuff that we bang our heads against the wall. And not for nothing, people in your own company are banging their heads against said wall. We're holding hands, banging our heads against a collective wall. Can you stop? Can you get out of your own fucking way for once? I swear to God, if I could just spend 10 minutes in that fucking company, heads would be rolling. Heads would be rolling. I'm telling you. You're just cleaning house of this tired, antiquated, oh God. Why do we follow this company? You know what? Who was it? Sean? Was it Sean? You know, you're right. I do hate this company. Right. I quit. I quit.
All right. Let's go on to Lonestar Shootout. Right. We're 40 minutes. I barely anywhere near it. Right. This is Friday, November 10th in Garland, Texas, the Curtis Colwell Center, an attendance of 1,027 people.
Really?
So, first of all, this production, it was extremely dark and you couldn't see the crowd. Was there a crowd? I don't know. It says there are 1,027 people there. I could see or hear no evidence of them, but what was your experience of the show like from a production
Holy
standpoint?
Shit. You're right. It was, so when it first came on, they had the shot of the entrance curtain, right? That was literally a curtain. And it was like 2 steps to the ring. And I was like, wow, that's a quick walk down the aisle. Okay. And it was pitch dark. And the first thought was, okay, maybe they're doing like the old territory days where, they just want to light up the ring. Or even like, the old concert thing where, we're going to tarp off sections. So because tickets aren't so long. It was pitch black. They did a shot of the announcer's desk, and poor Walker Stewart. I mean, look, Walker Stewart's a big guy. He's big, tall, and every other term. Big dude. You could barely see him. You could barely see him. It was unbelievable how poorly lit this production was. Who knows how many people were there? You couldn't see a thing. You could not see a thing. And unless the wrestlers stayed in the ring, and when I mean in the ring, I mean like in the middle of the ring. Like even when they came to the corners, sometimes it got a little lost a little light. So it was just one of the worst looking shows from just a pure lighting standpoint. That. In 2023, I've seen independent pro wrestling shows that have been taped. Like when I'm talking independent, I'm not even talking like, what is it, GCW or like I'm talking like just VFW Hall indies lit better than this show. It was an absolute embarrassment. I could not stop giggling at how shitty the production was. How do you not have... Joel, I went in the beginning of this year to Hamburg, Pennsylvania. Hamburg, Pennsylvania is famous because of it used to be one of the home bases for the WWF doing TV tapings, right? And inside said Hamburg Fieldhouse, Kevin Kelly was running his little independent shows there. And he got a great crowd, by the way. But it was just a historic building because a lot of the stuff that I grew up watching was filmed in this said building. And they still had the overhead lights that Vince Sr. bought to have installed in this building. It's still there. The whole rig right up there. Better lit than this show. Better lit than this New Japan Pro Wrestling show. I cannot tell you how embarrassing it was, and also a little bit funny.
Right, so we started off here with the kickoff match, a strong survivor match produced by the NJPW Academy. Matt Vandergriff defeating Barrett Brown in 4 minutes 44 seconds with a 450 splash. Taking us right back to our New Japan strong roots of Barrett Brown jobbing in what looks like an empty arena. So pour one out for the Stray Dog Army. I don't know, this may be a bit sad because I've always been a bit of a cheerleader for Barrett Brown. I think he's talented. I think he'd be pretty good as a regular guy on these shows. He's got that sort of heelish weasel face, and he's a pretty good worker. But it seems, I think he said backstage this was the first time he'd worked a strong show for a year. So sort of indicative of the way most of the guys who were sort of mainstays during that strong era have been sort of quietly
phased out
the door.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt bad. I just, if you're a pro wrestler and you get that call and you're like, okay, I'm going to work, they're going to fly me into Dallas. Oh, cool. I'm going to work New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I would just think you would in your mind's eye and as you're working toward these goals, you would think that it would be just a little bit more than what was delivered. I felt bad. Because this is a perfect example of a guy who I feel has paid a lot of dues when it comes to sticking it out with this company, and this is the reward. Here's the bottom line. This match, which wasn't a bad match, I thought both guys tried really hard, but it's hard when no one cares. And when I say no one cares, it's not their fault. It's not the wrestler's fault. Here's a guy that's been with Strong for how long, Joel? Over a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even. Look, somebody's got to open the show, but I don't know. I just think there are some guys that I feel you would think have earned the right to not be in that position, but once again, here we go. And then, and I know we're getting there, but then the second match just screams, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, great segue. I mean, this is case in point, really. So the second kickoff match, Fred Rosser defeating Tom Lawlor, 13 minutes, 3 seconds with a crucifix pin. And yeah, just sad that this was on the pre-show. They both worked it like it wasn't. I mean, they put fire and heart into it. It's a really good match that deserved better. Really cool finish as well. I like the post-match where they shook hands and then slapped each other and then shook hands again. Did not ultimately lead to the World Tag League entry that some of us were hoping for. But suggested backstage they might be doing it again in Japan. Fred Rosser seemed to indicate that they would be going to Japan. So hopefully we will get to see more of them. But again, this is my catchphrase of the day. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I mean, ain't that the truth? Are we allowed to mention who we talked to and what was said?
I won't go into specifics, but I tried to investigate why this match was on the kickoff. And I was wondering maybe one of these guys had a prior appointment, like another wrestling show or something they needed to make, so that's why they had to do it early. But no, it was not the case. This was just put on the kickoff show for no good reason, really.
No reason at all. Now let's keep in mind, if this doesn't give you an idea of what the promotion now thinks of a product that they had invested so much time, effort, and energy in, this was the top feud in the promotion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it won Strong Match of the Year 2 years in a row.
Yeah. I mean, this was the cornerstone of the promotion. I mean, just countless hours dedicated to, and rightfully so, to a feud that worked on every level. It worked on every pro wrestling level there possibly could be. And not even on the main show. I want that to sink into the listeners. Not even on the main show, they had these guys go out there and, not for nothing, as I'd like to say, kick ass when they didn't have to. Like, if there was any time that those guys grab a hold. Let's go fucking 12 minutes. Get in, get out, and I'll meet you at the fucking In-N-Out Burger. Right? Why not? But no, they didn't. They were professional. They put on a good match. Pretty great match, actually. Worked hard and delivered when, by God, they didn't have to. And they would have had every right to put on a fucking T-shirt, like half the fucking roster, in a similar situation, and go through the motions. They didn't. So thank you, Tom Lawlor. Thank you to everyone involved in putting on this match. I enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it. Yeah, it's an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment.
Okay, then that got onto the main card, which was the...
Oh, did I not say Fred Rosser? I know he said Tom Lawlor. Thank you, Fred Rosser. Thank you, Tom Lawlor.
Thank you, Fred Rosser.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's give him his flowers as well. We had a 6-man tag match with Mascara Dorada, Tiger Mask, and Atlantis defeating the team of Hechicero, Rocky Romero, and Ultimo Guerrero. 30 minutes, 41 seconds. Mascara Dorada pinned Hechicero after a shooting star press. I like these Lucha Vibes matches. It was a fun opener. I don't know, Dorada wasn't very good at this, actually. There were quite a few botches between him and Hechicero. These matches have seemed to have replaced the strong multi-man tag matches that I so used to love, but I do really enjoy the CMLL involvement, so I think this is a net positive, and yeah, it's a fun opener.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. I don't think there's any coincidence of seeing a lot of the Lucha style tag matches on these strong shows, and or New Japan shows, or whatever you want to call them. And Rocky Romero having a little bit of a success in down in Mexico as well. Do you think there's any correlation there, Joe? I don't know. It could be. I could be completely wrong, but seems odd. But okay, fine. As long as everybody's getting paid, I'll scratch my back. You scratch yours.
Wait, they're scratching their own backs.
Oh, yeah, listen, everybody's scratching everybody's backs. Look, it's I don't necessarily, I don't hate it, right? I don't hate the matches. I think the matches generally are pretty good, and this is coming from someone who, maybe not, maybe doesn't throw enough flowers to the lucha style as others. I guess once again, I just think, okay, would that spot be better filled with guys that have worked so hard for the company to kind of take that spot? I don't. Do I enjoy the matches? Yes. Do I feel that this is a situation that other people could benefit from, that would be more important to New Japan as opposed to the guy running the show scratching backs and doing favors? I do. Sorry, got to be honest with you. It's entertaining, but it serves no purpose except the people that are in the ring.
I hear what you're saying. I think the CMLL partnership has been really good this year, starting from Fantastica Mania, really, and I just like seeing something a bit different. We don't see a huge amount of this on New Japan writ large, so yeah, personally, I don't have a problem with it, although, yeah, your criticisms are valid. So let's move on to the next match, which was a no disqualifications match with Toru Yano defeating Joey Janela in 9 minutes, 29 seconds via Schoolboy. And look, this went way harder than I expected, so I have to respect the effort from both these guys. I've had a nice post-G1 Yano detox. And actually, he seems to be featured less heavily this year since he's been out of the KOPW scene. I can't really remember any Yano singles matches outside of the G1, actually. But I still came into this expecting the worst, and I was pleasantly surprised. They took some big bumps. I think I seem to recall Yano taking a Death Valley driver bump onto a chair, so fair fucks to him. He absolutely did not need to do that. So you can't really fault the effort here. This is decent.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel the same way in the sense that I don't think a lot of people necessarily went into this thinking that it was going to be as intense as it was. I think everybody was maybe even expecting a lot more comedy. Didn't happen, which was a pleasant surprise. They did a lot of stuff that I didn't think was even necessary given the implied crowd at the show. And I bet it came across TV okay. I mean, again, it was hard to pick up some of the action if they went outside the ring, but in the ring, I thought they all worked hard. And again, Joey Janela, it's not like he's not coming off some serious injuries, right? So to do what they were doing was pretty nice to see that they were even willing to do. And even Toru Yano, it was again, a perfect situation of a show where you didn't have to do all that and you could have gotten out of there doing much less. But the fact that they went out there and performed at such a, I want to say dangerous level, but I'm going to say dangerous level. I appreciate it. I really do. And trust me, I think if we saw more Toru Yano matches similar to this, I don't know if we would have that criticism of the fucking Toru Yano match, right? Now, is he going to do that every time out? No, and I wouldn't recommend anyone doing that. Really, I think your career is going to be shortened tremendously if you did that.
I'm just imagining like a sort of locker room meeting where they said, "Right, lads, typically the Yano match has been like your rest match, your night off match during the G1. Well, now they're going to be death matches. So anyone wrestling him in the G1, you will be required to take bumps onto chairs."
Imagine that. But no, I mean, seriously, I'm going to tip my cap. Here's what I'm going to say. And in general, overall, I know we shit on the production. A lot of these guys didn't have to do what they did, especially on the undercard. But yet they did. And I definitely can appreciate the fact that, you know what? I don't care if there's 4 people or 400 or 4,000 or 40,000. I'm going to go out there and give the people who paid money a show. So both guys delivered more than I expected. And that's always a win. That's always a win.
Then we had an 8-man tag match with Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, Alex Coughlin, and Chase Owens defeating Kevin Knight, Kushida, Tangaloa, and Tamatonga. So Clark Connors pinned Kevin Knight after 10 minutes 52 seconds with the spike no chaser. Really fun match. Enjoyed this one a lot. Did not turn out to be the Chase Owens redemption story that a lot of people were doom-mongering about. They maybe keeping that one in their pocket for a much bigger show. But always enjoy War Dogs. Yeah, this is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the talent in the ring, you have a lot of young guys in there that are trying to get to the next level. And once again, having a match that, again, we're not putting this on the best of, but still on it. I keep going back to it on a show that might not have warranted the effort. I felt like all the guys, I don't think anybody, took a night off, especially in this, in a multi-man tag match where, to me, and I don't even think he was bad. Don't get me wrong, but I think like Kushida was like if I'm going to rank everybody in this match and what we saw, and he might be bottom of the list. And even then he's always solid. He's always good. So I was, to this point on the show, I don't think I had a complaint about the effort of any one of the matches. I don't think I had one complaint. From a booking perspective, from a logic perspective, from a business perspective, yes, of course, I had gripes. But every one of those guys so far, up until this point, I was on board with. I thought everybody did well, and I thought everybody tried hard, and I thought everyone performed well.
That's really our complaint when we're criticizing New Japan, like the quality of the wrestling or the effort of the wrestlers. Like that, I think, is something that is consistently high, and that's one of the things we love about New Japan. But anyway, I digress. We move on to the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships, which was Hikuleo and El Fantasmo successfully defending against West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. So ELP pinned Isaacs after 14 minutes and 2 seconds with sudden death, so they've retained the championships. This one was pretty disappointing. Maybe that's why West Coast Wrecking Crew are not in World Tag League. Although having said that, viewing the Tag League as a meritocracy when Bad Luck Fale is involved is maybe on a highlight to nothing. But either way, the crowds were not really into West Coast Wrecking Crew. The ref bump in the finishing stretch was a bit clunky. We do have Coughlin and Connors challenging next rather than Coughlin and Gabe Kidd. So we've got an open weight War Dogs challenge, which is quite interesting. And there was some beef between West Coast Wrecking Crew and Tom Lawlor backstage. They were going at it. They were not happy with each other. So, maybe there's some more legs to this. And I still think there's something there with West Coast Wrecking Crew, but they need to deliver in their next spot if they get one, because this was not it.
Yeah, something was off. Maybe it was just a bad night. I think on paper, we both kind of circled this match as being potentially one of the best. And I don't know. Maybe it was chemistry. Maybe it was just a night off. Maybe somebody had a fucking cold. Who knows? But it just didn't feel like they meshed well. Like it felt like just something with the chemistry wasn't there. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. And that happens. But if you're in the Wrecking Crew, you got to you're trying to make the most of every opportunity, right? And I think sometimes you have to have a match where even when you know that it might be a struggle, just because there is that something that might not quite connect, you got to figure it out. And that's, truth be told, when people talk about shit like calling shit in the ring, and like that's one of those things where when you feel that chemistry not being there and the gears kind of grinding together, like you got to be able to pivot, and you got to be able to change it up, and that's hard. There's not a ton of pro wrestlers that have that skill. It's a dying art. It's go out there and hit the moves that we talked about in the back. It's not, okay, let's grab a hold and think this fucking through and figure out what we need to do to deliver. No, let's go through our spots that we worked backstage. And to me, again, that's a dying art. It really is. And to be able to recognize that and do that, I think that separates good wrestlers and really good wrestlers and professional wrestlers. Does it make sense? Like to me, having that skill is what the foundations of pro wrestling. And when like you get like the people complaining about, he's just an old man yelling at the clouds. Well, okay, in a lot of cases that might be accurate and not being, but understand that in between the noise is that understanding of what pro wrestling was, and being able to adapt, and not having that skill or ability, or just having it missing from pro wrestling overall. I think that's a huge, huge loss. Now, Joel, the business has changed. It's no longer in a arena type environment, right? It's TV, right? I get it, understood. On a show like this, though, is it really? You know what I mean? Like we're not. Are we really playing to the cameras? Are we looking for the hard count? Are we doing that? Or is this a show that is being, a house show, should we say, that's being televised? Like to me, that's what this was. Like, this was not a SmackDown or a Raw or a Collision or whatever the fuck they call their show, AEW or whatever. Like, that wasn't this, was it? This is a house show that was taped. And that's where that skill comes in handy. And just, if you don't have it, this is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, sort of the larger point here, I found this show a bit of a slog to get through, and it wasn't because the wrestling was bad. It just didn't have any sort of buzz or spice or excitement to it. Yeah, maybe it was that, as you said, just it did have strong house show vibes to it. But maybe that's just me. Anyway, so move on then to a special singles match where Mystico defeated TJP 11 minutes 45 seconds after La Mystica. Again, another match that was good but not great. It's solid enough. Didn't feel like either guy really got out of third gear, and they're good enough to be able to phone in a passable match, which, yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got here, actually.
Yeah. It's weird because, from that tag match to this, it did feel like these were the matches that we were kind of hoping would be the matches that helped bridge the gap. Because I don't think anybody was, doing cartwheels over the undercard on paper, but that over-delivered. And I think this is where the part of the show where, you have these talented guys and, maybe they were like, okay, for who, for what? I'm not going to go out there and kill myself over, what I hear. And it could have been much, 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 much better. I thought there was plenty more that was like the match was capable of having. Like there was plenty of room to grow, and there was stuff that was left on the table, no doubt. But again, I'll question, and again, maybe they're the smartest ones in the building. Of okay, we're going to give them just enough. We're going to give them just enough. Like, we're not just going to fucking grab an armbar, but we're not going to have an epic match of unbelievable caliber now. Right? Maybe we hold off on that. And they delivered just enough. Good match. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was bad. But, on paper, I think people were kind of like, ooh, this is going to be a sexy one. And it was, it was okay. It was good.
Then we had a strong openweight championship. Eddie Kingston with his 28th successful defense against Satoshi Kojima. No, not really, but I'm exaggerating. It was his 7th defense, but it feels like a lot more. 10 minutes, 43 seconds following the Northern Lights bomb. The unbeatable Eddie Kingston. He cannot be stopped. Was this good? I don't know. I kind of zoned out here. It was fine. I'm just rapidly losing interest with the Eddie Kingston thing. I really feel it's diminishing returns at this point. Gabe Kidd, he's the next challenger. That's exciting. So he's in the midst of a bit of a singles push. He's got his big Rev Pro main event coming up against Will Ospreay. He should absolutely beat Eddie Kingston, even though he won't, because Eddie Kingston is not allowed to lose wrestling matches ever again.
He's the new Andre the Giant. I look. We've beaten the horse a trillion times, but it's amazing that people will get on and complain about like Tomohiro Ishii matches, all feeling the same, all having the same. Like there is no difference between one Eddie Kingston match and another. Sorry, like he does all his favorite Japanese pro wrestling spots and his I'm a tough guy and you're a tough guy and let's exchange blows, and it's
no. I'm sorry, those back fists don't look like they could crack an egg to me. I don't like them.
No, not a fan. But it's it's the same. Like there is no variety in any of his matches. That being said, I do think he does work hard. He works smart. I think people will give you varying opinions on how does it look. Look, I'm going to be real honest with you. I am not this guy who thinks that we should go back to, 80s era Vince McMahon WWF. But I'm sorry. There is something about pro wrestling that is pretty magical in the sense that when you see a guy walk down the aisle, like he has to feel like he's something different than the guy that's in the seat next to you, right? I truly, honestly believe that. And and that's just me. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. That's me. And I feel the same way about, music, right? The band that I see on stage, I want them to look like a band. Like, I don't want them to look like they just got done fucking pushing carts at Walmart. Like, that's like, pro wrestling is magic and a show. And I don't know. Like, I just want, I feel like the whole vibe of Eddie Kingston has definite diminishing returns. I love the idea of him being the common guy, right? I love the fact that he is not afraid to be who he is, and he is who he is, and and I use the word again, authentic. I appreciate it, and trust me, I love it.
I mean, what's the whole appeal of it? Like, he's supposed to be this everyman, like, lovable loser who's going to lose most of the time, but then, you're cheering for him to get the big win.
Right.
Booking him as an unbeatable champion, which is how he's been booked at the moment because of the politics. Yeah, it completely compromises the appeal of him.
Thank you. You said what I took 400 fucking words to say. It's exactly what it is. Like, the idea of him squeaking out wins is fine, but again, diminishing returns. The fact that he is this unfucking believable guy pinning legend after legend after you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, yes, they are old. Like, they're old, but they're not that much older than Eddie Kingston, are they? Right? Or at least he doesn't look it. And I'm not here to shit on Eddie Kingston because I think the story of him.
I am. I'm definitely here to shit on Eddie Kingston.
All right.
I'm sorry. No, you can't say that. You've been calling him a hunk of shit for the last month.
I mean that lovingly, right? I mean that with all the love in my heart. But yeah, I mean, it's like now like we're bordering on okay, that's where we're at, and he's holding a meaningless title, right? For New Japan, and win after win after win after win after. Has he lost in a New Japan ring? like he may have. I'm
pretty sure he went 9-0 in the G1 climax in his main event in Wrestle Kingdom. Right. That's what it seems like anyway.
It really does, doesn't it? Okay, G1 maybe, yeah, okay, but it's just the idea of him being the underdog has really outstayed its welcome for me, anyway.
Yeah, I'm just looking now on the website trying to figure out what
his record is. Where's Chris Sampson when you need him?
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
Speaking of Chris Sampson, did you see what I sent you the other day?
Oh, the music video.
Yeah. Doesn't he look good?
Awesome. He does. He's fantastic.
I mean, that song is even good. Oh, I told him, I was like, look, you guys get back together. I'm fucking there. I'm there.
Okay, I've got it here. So this is Eddie Kingston. So won it against Kenta, and defenses Wheeler Yuta,
okay.
Claudio Castagnoli,
okay.
Rocky Romero,
okay.
Katsuyori Shibata,
okay.
Minoru Suzuki, Hinare, and Satoshi Kojima.
Wow.
Okay, some of those I'll give him, but about half of that I'm just like, no.
Come on.
No, thank you.
Right.
It's just silly. It's just silly.
Yeah. Look. All right. Look. Like, can you do me one favor? Can you read off those names once again? I wanted to sink in. Go ahead, please, if you would.
Okay, so he won it from Kenta.
Uh-huh.
And the successful defenses subsequently have been Wheeler Yuta,
mm-hmm.
Claudio Castagnoli,
mm-hmm.
Rocky Romero,
mm-hmm.
Katsuyori Shibata,
mm-hmm.
Minoru Suzuki,
mm-hmm.
Hinare,
right.
and Satoshi Kojima. There's something very funny here. It's got the dates of all the defences, and then you go to the Suzuki one, and it says the date of that defence was January 1st, 1970, which does feel how long this reign has been going on to me, anyway. But
I thought he beat.
I don't know.
I thought he
That might
beat
not be
Jack Briscoe for it. Gene Kaninsky. All right, enough of that at Kingston. He's taking too much of our time.
correct. Okay, what have we got next then? So then we had John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta defeating David Finlay and Kenta. So Moxley pins Finlay 12 minutes 48 seconds after a death row. He pinned Finlay. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound correct. He must have pinned Kenta, surely. I think he
G1.
probably pinned Kenta. Huh? The special tag match they had. Mox and Yuta against Finlay Kenta. I don't know. Who cares? This was fine. Was okay. Let me ask you this: was Finlay the least over person in this match?
Look, I am not one to go looking at comments and online stuff because I think a lot of it is just silliness. There are people that are just totally hand waving him, like just don't want anything to do with him. He's not over at all. I mean, not from a U.S. perspective. Like no one gives a fuck. I mean, I don't even think he's going to walk into his house on Thanksgiving and people are going to be like, "Hey, good to see you." They're going to make him sit at the kids' table. It's troubling. It's troubling, but they're trying everything they can. They're trying everything they can, and
no, they're not. They've booked him in an everlasting feud with Guerrillas of Destiny. I think maybe if they tried some other stuff, it might help. But to be fair, Finlay has not really been pulling his weight.
Well, I think they're trying in the past.
From the G1 onwards, he had a rubbish G1.
Yeah,
let's call it what it was. Very disappointing.
But in the past 2 weeks, they've done everything. I mean, they pretty much,
yeah.
And it's hard to do to have a guy just like you said for months just fucking trade back wins with God and have a very disappointing G1, and then you're trying to tell me that this guy's a guy, and it's hard. Yeah, he was the least over. It's just
they're sitting around in the office like, fuck, he's not over. He's really shitting the bed. This is the worst Bullet Club leader we've ever done. How are we going to fix this? How about a big mallet? Yes. Gedo, you've done it again.
Right. Yeah. That thing was the Thor hammer. What are you going to do? Look, they're in trouble, man. They're in trouble with this, and this 3-way match at Wrestle Kingdom. Boy, whew, there ain't one person that's. I've seen images of, they have the graphic and they're just like putting a big red X over his head and just trying any way they can to eliminate him from these matches. So, they're in trouble. They're in trouble with it.
Okay, now. Finally, some good fucking wrestling to talk about. Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Mike Bailey, successfully defending his NJPW World Television Championship in 14 minutes and 59.999999 seconds. That wasn't really, it was 54 seconds. I've exaggerated that for comic effects, but Damon's completely no-sold it. This is a clear match of the night. They had brilliant chemistry. Love this. Great closing stretch. It was high-paced, no dead time, just balls to the wall action, wonderful grappling, creative counters, fake outs. We even got Speedball, the street fighter thing, the Tatsumaki Senpukyak. And I really enjoyed him selling his crooked finger at the end after Zack had twisted them up. He should sign with New Japan. I'd love him to sign. Zack should be in Rest of the Year shortlists. This was great. Loved it. Really good stuff.
Yeah, Zack has had just a fabulous year. Just a fabulous year. I'm sure he'll be on the short list for many people's ballots for Wrestler of the Year. And here's the thing too. Mike Bailey has done everything possible to earn a full-time contract. I don't know if he's been offered one or not. But if he hasn't, what a crying shame. it might be a situation where he makes more money taking various independent dates, and also, not for nothing, it's not like he can't sign a contract with New Japan and work those various independent dates. What a talent, and a guy that is still to this day, I think, very underrated. But I think in 2023, people are beginning, and when I say people, maybe people that don't go as deep as a freakazoid who would fucking listen to this show. They're recognizing it and they're seeing it. And 2023 might be that year of the Mike Bailey breakout, in 24 where he really elevates himself to a point where it's, you can't deny him. Again, the big fear would be, him just getting fucking scooped up by 2 other promotions. And, not for another, maybe that's what he's waiting for. Maybe he's just going to hold out until that time comes. Which is scary because it's, I don't mind having promotions that, like, trust me, the worst is having one promotion and New Japan being the option B. Having 2 promotions and New Japan being option C, if that. It's one of those things where you want them to succeed, but you don't want them to be too loud about it. You don't want him, Kevin Knight, Gabe Kidd. There are a lot of people that are in that mix of, okay, let's put it right out there. They're not Japanese. So the likelihood of them getting signed elsewhere is probably higher than that of the stud kids coming up for New Japan. It's, you don't want them to be too good, because too good means somebody's going to write a big check and you're not going to see them in your promotion anymore. That's the troubling state of pro wrestling right now, is that idea of New Japan being a home for people to kind of be that place where the and I'll put in air quotes, the good wrestlers go. Well, now there's a second option where people can make a little bit of money and still do their craft on TV. So yeah, don't get too good, but I do think that Mike Bailey's one of those guys. And here's the thing, Zach was one of those guys, and not to say that he isn't still, but imagine, do you think he questions himself? Do you think he sits there and thinks, what if I did take that offer? What if I did go there? What if I, what would my life be like? How different would it be? And there's only so many times that they come a knocking on your door. So Zach's another one that I have big time concerns of, like big time concerns. That 2024 might be too big of a year for Zach.
I'm at the point now where if it's going to happen, it'll happen. I can't examine every talented foreign wrestler who works for New Japan through the lens of, is Tony Khan going to steal them? Because the answer is yes. That's always a danger, but I think I don't know. I try and enjoy them while they're there, because otherwise it's just too much doom and gloom. It's exhausting. So
it is.
It is what it is. Now, sticking with Zach, Tanahashi is officially his challenger for the NJPW World TV Championship for Wrestle Kingdom. Let me read you a little quote when they unveiled this title.
Yeah,
the NJPW World Television Championship will, Obari stated, represent a bright future in NJPW. Every title match will be contested with a 15-minute time limit, encouraging a rapid style in the ring. Obari suggested that he would also like to see the younger wrestlers on the roster complete for the title. Now, look, I know in New Japan, the attention span for their booking with the identity of a title is about as long as a goldfish, and wrestlers and officials seemingly just say shit. But call me crazy. Does the 47-year-old Hiroshi Tanahashi represent the bright future, the rapid style, the younger wrestlers on the roster of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this will be the 12th match that these two have had in New Japan, 12th singles match. Do we think it's going to be significantly better this time at Wrestle Kingdom than the previous 11 matches? Probably not. Why are we doing it? I'm trying to be balanced here, but this just seems to be such cowardly, creatively bankrupt booking. And I know the match will be good, I'm sure it will, but I'll tell you what should be happening, and I've said it before, Okada, Tanahashi, Ishii should be defending their never 6-man titles at the Dome against quality opposition with decent amount of time. You know, I even hold my anti-AEW bias, put that to one side and say Kenny and the Bucks would have been terrific opponents for those titles. And look, if you're looking at this with the angle of this is the biggest show of the year, you've got to have a Tanahashi singles match because we might not have too many of those left. Don't do it against someone who's wrestled 11 times before.
I know. It feels like they had no clue. Like it feels like they were just, and they weren't. You know what I mean? Like they could easily. Like that's a match that is like, okay, what are we going to do? We don't have anything for this guy, and okay, we'll just put him in this match, because all of our young stars are doing other things and other programs, and it just makes more sense. Like if you came to me with that, I would be like, all right, great. And again, there is a possibility of a World Tag League and having, young guys winning that and challenging for tag titles. Of course, there is that possibility. The likelihood, I don't know. Who knows? But okay, it's on the table. We're talking, you need to take off your shoes to count how many matches these guys have had in the past. Number one. Number two, the promise of what this title was, once again, has just been completely thrown out the fucking window. This match will be great, right? Because it is Hiroshi Tanahashi in Tokyo Dome. And for whatever reason and how he does it at 47 years old, he can do it. I'll never count him out. I'll never tell you no. And I'll never tell you don't have Hiroshi Tanahashi in a singles match at the Tokyo Dome. I'll never say that. To the day either he dies or I die. We will both be singing that same ballad. You are right in the sense that there is absolutely zero reason why this match should be happening. None. Zilch. Zero. And yet, here we are. Now, again, the promise of a 15-minute match. Okay. That saves a 47-year-old from doing double that work, right? So the time limit does play in all of our favors. So it'll be a bit of a sprint. And you have two very talented, and I say that with all the very good meaning, outstanding and generational talents. Still, that being said, from a company perspective and a booking perspective, it is just, as Suede would sing, lazy. It's terrible. And I don't know. You would hope you would. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I can't even analyze it because it's just what we've done is we've just created a match. That's it. And that's what this Wrestle Kingdom somewhat feels like. Like we have a lot of matches and not a lot of what feels like thought being put into these matches.
We had the IWGP Women's Championship. Mai Iwatani successfully defending against Stephanie Vaquer, 11 minutes, 28 seconds after a moonsault press. This was good. Some pretty brutal spots, some that look legit painful. Bit of an underwhelming finish, but yeah, I like this one enough. It's fine.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things that if New Japan doesn't care, I don't care. Right? And I hate to say it, I'm popping open a nice frosty monster here. I feel sorry for them. I do. I feel sorry for these young ladies who are putting their heart and soul into this that the company obviously has trouble supporting. I would have liked them to have even more time. I feel bad because the majority of the crowd, or at least the way it came across, as it didn't feel like a lot of people gave them the time of day. And maybe they won over a few more people than they had when they started the match, because I think they both tried their damnedest to get people into it, get people behind them, and get people to care. But what an uphill battle, right? What an uphill battle, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Like, these matches feel like an afterthought. They feel like they're put in there because they happen to be in the United States, and it's a cheaper flight. I hate to say it. So look, I like the match. Is this All Japan women? By no means, no. But why? You know what? Even if it could have been, why do it? Why get it? Dude, they were fine. They were fine. And it sounds like I'm shitting on the card, and I am, but I'm not shitting on the performers because I thought they tried their best. What are you going to do?
Yeah. The show was fine. It was a decent house show. Let's bring us into the main event, the Never Openweight Championship. Shingo Takagi successfully defending against Trent Beretta, 25 minutes, 44 seconds after Last of the Dragon. Yeah, I mean, it's the strange case of Trent Beretta. I mean, the guy looked like he was on the verge of a big singles breakout year. Then, I don't know, I guess he just got lost in Tony's toy box like everyone else. It hasn't even got a decent tag run there, which, he's not very good on the mic. He's not particularly charismatic. He's good enough in the ring. I think he would have been a good fit in New Japan, but I mean, you could probably say the same for about half of the AEW roster. I mean, lest we forget the alleged betrayal when he supposedly pissed off New Japan by reneging on a handshake deal. But that's what Rocky's here for now that we've got him back. There are many worse cases of Rocky getting one of his boys a payday than this. This was fine, but match was all right. I think Trent was trying hard, but it didn't have the pace to sustain a 25-minute match. They probably should have shaved off about 10 minutes from those. And look, I did a bit of digging. Trent Beretta's not wrestled even a 15-minute match since February 2022. Wow. That was against Jay White. The last singles match he had to go to hit 20 was against Kenny Omega in April of 2020.
Wow.
The last match he had, a singles match to go over 25 minutes, was against Juice Robinson at the Cursed New Beginning in USA in February 2019. So, look, quite simply, Trent doesn't have the experience or the skills to wrestle in a match this long. He had no business doing that. He might have learned if he'd stuck around in New Japan, but he didn't, and he hasn't. So that ship has sailed. I mean, there were some cool bumps, but doing the big bloated main event style, kicking out of each other's big moves extravaganza was a bad idea, given that nobody believed Trent would win. I think they would have been better served doing a 15-minute slugfest where they could have just beat each other up and then gone to the finish. But that was that. And a nice English language promo from Shingo. That was very impressive.
Yeah, cowboy hat and all. You had a little collar, right? You had a little hard way, it seemed like. I give him credit in the sense that, and again, going into that, not knowing those numbers that you dug into, that's saying something. Look, I'm sure his treadmill got a little workout. I just find that amazing. By the way, it's a direct flight from Philadelphia to Dallas. Just FYI. That might have something to do with it too. Cheap flights, American Airlines, right there. I give Trent Beretta credit in the sense that I felt like he did everything he physically could to make this match a competitive, interesting, and entertaining pro wrestling match. He worked hard. He busted his ass. Shingo is Shingo, who is, still to this day one of the New Japan bright spots in ring. No one in that building thought there was going to be a title change. No one in that building thought that that Trent Beretta was sniffing any type of title for New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? That being said, and it helps when you have that, right? It helps any main event that you have that sliver of doubt, but there's not a person in that building, including Trent Beretta's own mother, who thought that he was walking out of there with that title. That being said, they worked their ass off, right? And you're right. He had no right being in the ring for that long, but yet still found a way to make it work, make it happen. And good for him. You know what? Good for him. Shingo, fantastic. And then to cap it all off, go ahead. Let's do it.
So Mark Wright says, what dirt does Tama Tonga have on Kidani and Gedo to warrant getting another singles title match at the Tokyo Dome?
We told you.
Are the new Three Musketeers and you are going to work as ushers at Wrestle Kingdom? So yeah, Tama Tonga came out. His challenge, the rematch against Shingo for the Never title is official for Wrestle Kingdom. And look, God bless the people at this show shouting, "No, we don't." Tama was saying they want to see it again. I mean, look, I understand why the company liked to push Tama Tonga. He stuck around during the pandemic. You know, he could have signed with WWE allegedly. They're trying to reward that. They obviously see value there. I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities with Sanada, not in terms of the quality of his wrestling, but just like as a safe pair of hands that maybe the domestic fans seem to appreciate more than the Western fans do. And look, in isolation, like, I might have held my nose and swallowed this match and hand-waved it with the usual, you know, well, Japanese fans love him excuse, but not when they've already run the match twice in the back half of this year, including 2 fucking weeks ago, right? Wrestle Kingdom matches, they're supposed to be special. They're supposed to be protected and exciting. This is none of the above. It's such bizarre, incoherent booking. I refuse to believe that this was the original plan. Like, something's gone wrong here. Surely they fucked something up. This is the backup. And look, even so, like, even if I give them that very generous benefit of the doubt, I could name about 20 different challenges for Shingo that would have been better than this, including the evil hair versus hair match. I would have had that over the Tama Tonga challenge again. And even the Japanese fans are shitting on this if the Twitter quote retweets to the match announcement are any kind of indicator. And it's just more and more I'm feeling like the prominence of Gorillas of Destiny is one of the worst things in this company right now. And like, I could forgive it if there wasn't anybody else. But as I keep bitching and moaning about, they are sitting on an absolute fucking goldmine of young talent. And this is the best that they can do. Yeah. 47-year-old Tanahashi challenging for the young man's title. A boring rematch of a match that happened 2 weeks ago with a challenger who's fucking hit his ceiling harder than that guy on the lift in the opening bit of Mission Impossible. We got Okada ditching that amazing, brilliant work he was doing earlier on in the year when he was beefing with all the young guys. That's gone in the bin in favour of Tony Khan offer matches. Like, something changed here. Like, am I missing something? Because it's so jarringly different to all the cool shit that was happening in the first half of the year that we were so excited about. And what makes this even more inexcusable, Damon, is that this Sanada Naito main event, for all we say about it, or look, probably more accurately, the prospect of Naito winning the title and doing the roll call, that is selling Wrestle Kingdom by itself. Yeah. Right? Ticket sales are doing absolutely fine. So why not show a bit of courage and give some bigger spots to the young stars who are hopefully going to be carrying this company for the next decade.
Thank you.
And I hate to say it, this is the kind of shit I expect from WWE when WrestleMania rolls around and it's all the usual big names getting the big spots. You can't find the young talent with a search party. And yeah, Shota and Ren, they might very well win Tag League. I mean, they're fucking better with the way this card is shaping up, or they're going to be pouring out pints of Asahi Superdry in the stands. But
they look good in those little yellow skirts, I
bet. Look, that potential tag title challenge does not excuse this craven, insipid booking. Right? Shota Umino, based on all the current evidence, he's our future ace. No question in my mind. He's got all the tools. He can go. Not in the future.
No.
This is not me squinting and making generous prognostications. He's got it. He's the guy. He's proved it since the G1 kicked off. He is ready now. And the best we're hoping for him on the biggest show of the year is a match with Goto and Yoshihashi, who I love, but this is the future ace of your company. And, it's even more grim for Yota Tsuji, another guy who he's already a star. And, the likes of Yuya and Gabe Kidd and Watto, Kevin Knight, what are they doing at Wrestle
Rumble.
Kingdom? And I'm not even saying that Wrestle Kingdom will not be great. I'm sure everything will deliver. It will have quality wrestling. Lots of tickets will be sold. Everyone's going to go home happy. But the booking and the direction are really troubling to me. And hopefully I'm just making a mountain out of a molehill. This is, a bit of an awkward transitional year that isn't to my taste, but we'll get everything back on track from January 5th onwards. But I'm scared, Damon.
Yeah.
I'm really scared.
I would be. And you're right. 2 points that you brought up. One, this is night and day between the beginning of the year. Like, go back and listen to, and why would you? But it's there if you wanted to. Go back and listen to our stuff in February, March, April, where we were like, this is fucking crazy great in the sense of it's exciting and fresh and you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And just random shit that you're just like, whoa, what the fuck happened here? Like, where is that energy? Like, this is assisted living home, grandma shit in her bed energy. It's what it is. It's like, what are we doing? Like, and you're right. This Wrestle Kingdom is selling right around, where, and maybe even a little bit more with inflated prices, right? These tickets went on sale before G1 even ended, right? For like the fan club members in Japan. Because we remember getting messages about it and the bitching and moaning about the prices being so inflated. So Sonata and Naito, they did their job in the sense of they sold tickets, right? There is at least look. I truly believe that Wrestle Kingdom is an event, right? And people buy those tickets knowing full well that week is right after the holidays, right after Christmas time, right after Hanukkah, right, New Year's. Like, it's a time for people to get together and enjoy pro wrestling. So, the Dome and Wrestle Kingdom is the draw. So people book their tickets and their flights and all of that without knowing shit about a show, right? They don't know what the fuck they're going to say. But again, it's the idea of going to Wrestle Kingdom. Those tickets are sold, right? And then when it felt like, okay, this is a Naito story of redemption, Sonata, all of that. When that started bubbling, that sold more tickets. And who did a good job of kind of tracking that, from what I understand, is John Carroll, who he's been screaming from the highest mountain that Sonata and Naito, the idea of that match is what's not helping, is what is bringing people to up until a certain point when these matches are finally being announced. They sold the tickets. It's them. And whether that's Naito winning the belt, whether that's Naito getting his fucking time at the end, and the Los Ingobernables, getting his moment, that he didn't get with Kenta, whatever that case may be, that's what's selling tickets. Now these matches are being announced, and I'm very curious to see how those tickets sales, if there is a spike with any of these announced matches. But you're right. It seems like you have all this opportunity that you're not going to lose money. This is the time to showcase these young wrestlers that, if 35,000, 40,000 people in a building can get juiced up all at the same time over these kids. And now you got stars for the next year, and then boom, away you go. And just the lazy ideas and the tired booking, and look, Tama Tonga is not fucking drawing a dime. I'm sorry, he's not. No one. I'm not saying that there aren't Tama Tonga fans. Certainly there are. Like, you heard him in Las Vegas. Once again, John Carroll would be like, I tell you one, sat right behind me screaming her head off. It's preposterous. Why would we go back to this when you have all this talent that A, could use it, and B, the company could use it as well? We beat it to death, but it's so disappointing, and it's so just mind-numbingly lazy that you think that, like, I hope someone is okay in New Japan Pro Wrestling, because obviously they had some type of medical major emergency that removed them from the creative process. They're not involved because something had to have happened. Something had to have happened because it feels like two completely different promotions, let alone eras in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Right. Well, let's move on then. So we have a show that is coming up on the 17th. So this is this Friday in Yamagata. This is a New Japan Roadshow. So the two matches in note, we have the Tomoaki Honma Homecoming Special Six-Man Tag Team match with Taguchi, Ren Narita, and Honma. What a bizarre team that is, against Ishii, Tanahashi, and Okada. That is not labelled as a never six-man title defense. They might do that last minute. Main event is the KOPW 2023 provisional match with the holder Sho defending against Taichi. I'm not exactly clear what the stipulation is here. I mean, Sho initially said that his challenger wouldn't have the right to make his own rules and there will be no fan vote. Sho deciding completely fair rules for their contest.
There you go.
One of his suggestions was that the loser can never wrestle in Yamagata again, which I thought was quite funny. But any thoughts, Taichi or Sho for KPW, or don't give a shit?
I mean, I would hope you can give it a show. I would have no problem with that. It does seem like one of those things that at one time, a guy by the name of Taichi found creative ways to make this title, and I put in air quotes, interesting. It's there. I would hate this. Truth be told, I don't want to see like a guy like Yo get bogged down in this stuff. I think there's more that you can do. There's a perfect example of a guy who's what are we doing with him? Like, can we think of something to do with him except this? I don't know. It just seems.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, Sho can be very funny and very entertaining in this House of Torture role, but I can't help but wonder if we might have been better off just pursuing the sort of mini Shingo thing and having him doing the work rating matches, and that might have yielded something a bit better than what we've got at the moment. I mean, I can't imagine he's thrilled with his current persona. Like, how
there are so many guys that you're just scratching your head. Yo, Taichi. I mean, and look, I know people's mileage may vary, but like even Hanare, Okan, there's a lot of guys that I don't know, like so many. I guess the term I'm looking for is graduating classes in recent memory. Really are just like swings and misses right now. Like in a lot of cases, even like a Master Wato. Like what's he going to be doing come Wrestle Kingdom? And it seems like it's like that pack and newer. It's like, okay, what happened to all these people? Where, like, did we give up on them? Did we we got a big show here coming up, and it just feels like we have so many guys that are just spinning their fucking wheels, and yet, you look at the card and you're just, you're scratching your head. Like that's where the frustration comes in for me. Is you look at that card and it's like, if we spend a little bit more time, we could have had, and if we spent a little bit more time, and it's not like we didn't have the time. It just feels like, what are we doing? We are spinning our fucking wheels.
Okay, well, let's move on and just quickly look at World Tag League. So, first of all, we have two new young lions debuting on this tour. So we've got Shoma Kato, who is the first young lion who came off of the Okada reality show to debut, and Katsuya Murashima. So that's exciting. Always good to see new young lions. And I think this is a pretty strong lineup. So we are split into two blocks, and there's going to be the semi-final and the final format. So going through the two blocks as I bring them up on my screen, because I didn't watch it before. Have you seen the lineups, Damon?
You know what? I saw. Did I say? I saw him passingly. Like I didn't really spend a lot of time looking at it. So
Okay.
a lot of this stuff might be fresh. So go ahead.
Sure, I'll go through them. A block, we've got Shota Umino and Ren Narita, Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano, Great Khan and Hanare, Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste, Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kidd, Evil and Yujiro Takahashi, Kaito Kiyomiya and Ryohei Oiwa, and we have the Gates of Agony from AEW. So that's Bishop Korn and Toa Leona. Well, you say who? I've got loads of notes from very reputable sources about how who these guys are. So they are 2/3 of the reigning ROH 6-man champs. Korn is one of only 2 people to hold the title 3 times, and Korn and Tangaloa have not Tangaloa. No, say Tangaloa. That shouldn't be Tangaloa, should it? This should be whatever the guy's name is. They've held the titles twice with Brian Cage. So Korn is a legitimate Cameroonian prince in his village. The leader of the village was that who could quite literally out-wrestle the other male leaders. This fighting is called Bakweri fighting to establish the leader. Under Prince Nana, Korn has adapted the greetings from Ghana, the pedigree that Jimmy Rave used to use in the embassy. He renamed it Vey and Bay. It's encouraged to tie it back to Jimmy in tribute. Tonga Leona is particularly new to pro wrestling. Less than 3 years, he's trained by Rikishi. He's aggressive, big power moves, but exploded on the scene out of nowhere. So their tag finisher is open the gates, like when kids open a parachute at recess, but with a human body. That's Gates of Agony. So that's A block, which I think that's a pretty strong block. We've got, I'd say, one shitter team there. We've got Evil and Yujiro, but aside from that, I'd say pretty high quality. And then in B block, we've got Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. That's the reigning champs. Yuji Nagata and Minoru Suzuki.
I like that.
Hikuleo and El Phantasmo. Taichi and Yu Uemura. We have Yota Tsuji tagging with, it's labeled as Z. By the time you hear this, you've probably figured out who it is. How am I going to say this?
I was waiting for this. I've been waiting 2 hours for this. Come on.
A question from Andrew. Did Redacted spoil that Zandikan Jr. would be Suji's partner on NJPW1972.com for a tiny slice of clout? So, this is Zandikan Jr. from CMLL. This is from some information from Gig, who's my go-to guy for CMLL stuff. So apparently he's a pirate who's been getting a bit of a push this year. He's really taken off as a trio with the 2 sons of Villano 3. So everything I've heard from people in the know are quite excited about Zandikan Jr. So interesting pairing there with Yota Tsuji. We've got Atlantis Jr. and Soberano Jr., Lance Archer and Alex Zane, and Bad Luck Fale and Jack Bonza. So again, I would say one shitter team there. The rest of it, I think that's a pretty strong tag league lineup. And I'm not saying that, you should, knuckle down and watch every single one of these shows, because I think one thing I forgot that is important to remind people, however good these lineups look on paper, remember this is a house show tour, right? So most of these guys are going to be doing the same stuff in all the matches. This is a tour that is not necessarily designed for freaks like us to watch every single match. Now, I'll stick it on, pop it in the background while I'm cooking dinner or whatever. Like, that's fine. But don't be upset or shocked to see plenty of matches where they're just getting their shit in and, cycling through the same stuff. So I would add that caveat before I throw too many flowers at World Tag League. But Damon, just quick thoughts on that lineup.
Yeah, it's not a bad lineup. It's actually pretty interesting. Are there names that are shockingly missing? Yes. There are plenty of names that I'm actually surprised I don't see. But okay. That being said, there are some teams that I'm looking at and should be fun. Yes, you're right. It is a house show tour, and there will be a lot of T-shirt action, right? T-shirt matches. That being said, I will be not watching that. I will be enjoy your podcasts and all that. Now, actually, you know what? I'll be tuning into some stuff, but yeah, it's going to be background stuff.
Always the case with these. Like, watch the shows from the big venues, because that's when you're going to get the good stuff. So I would say the 2 openers from Korakuen Hall, like the Korakuen Hall shows are always really good. So I would definitely tune in for those. and the Osaka show from Edion Arena 2 on December 2nd. So those are the ones I would say. And yeah, of course, as you get to the semi-finals and the finals, they will be worth watching too. But yeah, that's what I'd say to pencil in for now.
Yeah, good for you. And listen, if you are into it and are going to watch the whole, good for you. Knock yourself out. Like I mean, there's just some things to me that there's going to be some nights where it's just going to be the dregs. But you know what? At least on paper, I like what I see there, and it could be worse. Let's put it that way.
So there's a few questions on this. Red Bear Hugh says, I hope Jack Bonza gets to show what he can do. He's not part of the New Zealand dojo. He coaches for PWA. He's a veteran of the Aussie scene and a great, technical power hybrid. I'm worried he's just here to eat pins and that people will write him off by association with Farley. So, yeah, I mean, I've got a bit of blowback from that by lumping Jack Bonza in with the Farley dojo mess, which he's not involved in that.
Right.
So
I'm
going to try and I'm going to try and come into to approaching Jack Bonza with an open mind and see what he can do. It's not the most exciting team on the tag league lineup, but I'd say that's more because of Farley rather than Jack Bonza.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm interested to see what he can do. What else we got? Morning Pro Wrestler. Should we expect someone of significance to go back over for the Continental Classic? Have you seen this Continental Classic, Damon?
No, what? No, what? What are you talking about?
This is Tony Khan basically trying to book a G1.
Oh no!
So he's got
really?
Yeah, he's got a round robin tournament with I think it's 2 blocks of 6 running basically now. It's going to be starting soon. The funniest thing about this is Brian Danielson, who, as we know, has let's say not the best record of injuries. So he is part of this. So he's going to be doing this grueling round robin tournament in the Wrestle Kingdom.
God.
So what's the over under on him getting injured after match number 1?
I don't want him to get hurt. I want that to be very clear. I can't believe I have to say that, but okay, I'm going to put it out there.
Extremely funny if it did.
Unbelievable that they would do that. So he's going to have at least 5 or 6 matches, right? Singles matches. Wow. Look at Tony Khan just lifting everything he can from this fucking promotion. Whew.
But yeah, the question was,
he probably will.
I was going back to Morning Pro Wrestling's question. Should we expect someone of significance to go back over for the Continental Classic in exchange for the 11th biggest team in AW coming for World Tag League? And what does it say about New Japan's expansion focuses when Farley gets into the World Tag League, but an accomplished strong team like West Coast Wrecking Crew gets locked out?
Well, I mean, look, it's favor time. It's let's cash in some favor time. That's what it screams to me. So, look, it's pro wrestling, kids. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's what pro wrestling is. And even in 2023, like there is a lot of pro wrestling is not as modern and progressive as people want you to believe. A lot of scratch my back, scratch yours, and to me, this is one of those moments. Sorry, it is. And will anybody go to this? Was it a Continental Classic? Wow. Yes, you will see. I will predict Kojima will be there because he loves the United States. He's got a side chick here somewhere or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny seeing the reception to Gates of Agony. Everyone on our Discord was like, they're shit. And then everyone on Voices of Wrestling Slack was like, oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, this is good. Huh. So, I mean, one interesting point was made that New Japan don't really have that sort of foreign monster heel at the moment. So they might fill that role. So again, I'll approach that with an open mind. Although, I read those nice notes that were prepared from reliable professional sources. But then I asked for Cliff Notes version of these guys from the Discord. And what I got was Toa Leona is legit dangerous and unsafe.
There you go.
So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really fun.
Yeah, can't wait to see him give a. Do we know who else is wrestling in this fucking Tony Khan-a-thon?
No.
Just
okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd be curious to see who else.
If his booking patterns are anything to go by, there'll be like the 2 guys that are actually going to get pushed, and then a bunch of jobbers.
Yeah, scissor guys. Are the scissor guys going to be in there? Oh my head hurts. All right, go ahead, please. Let's
I'd
continue.
rather scissor my own dick off than watch that.
Wow.
Multiverse A says, any hot takes on World Tag League? Are Shota and Ren the favourites, or do we go with House of Torture just because that's the least exciting option, which sadly seems to be the theme for quite a few Wrestle Kingdom matches this year?
Yeah.
So, look, as always, I like to go to the final block nights for some clues.
Yeah.
So I'll read out what the matches are. This is in no particular order, and I think maybe we can sort of pass out what the semi-final direction would be. So we have, on this final night for A block, Ren and Shota against Yujiro and Evil, which looks like it's going to be a straight sort of de facto quarter-final there. So then we've got Yano Ishii against Hinari and Great Khan, which could be significant. Probably not, though. TMDK against the War Dogs. I would think that will be another one to decide someone going through to the semis. And then Oiwa and Kaito Kiyomiya against... Wait, did I even read the B block?
Oh.
I did, yeah. And then... what did I say? Oiwa and Kaito against Gates of Agony, which I don't think is going to be significant. So just looking on that, I would say Ren and Shota and probably War Dogs going through to the semis from A block.
Yeah, that makes sense. Taichi and Yuya, I would have thought would have been in the mix somewhere. They would have been like my dark horse, actually.
Yeah, well, that's just A block that I've read out at the moment.
Yeah, I think the kid, we'll call them the kids and War Dogs are probably my bet. My bet.
And then on the B block final night, we've got Tsuji and Zandokan against Soberano and Atlantis, which I don't think that is going to be significant. Right. ELP and Hikuleo against Zayn and Archer. I think that will be, and probably ELP and Hikuleo to win that. Bishamon against Yuya and Taichi. So I think that will also be a de facto quarterfinal. And I just don't have any recent evidence to suggest that Yuya is anything more than Sanada's young boy at the moment. So until I actually see evidence that he is getting pushed, then I think Bishamon are probably winning and going through to the semis. And then also Nagata and Suzuki against Bonza and Fale, which I don't think will be significant. So again, from that B block final night, I would probably pick ELP and Hikuleo and Bishamon to be going through to the semis.
I'm going to go for the upset. I got this dark horse feeling of Taichi and Yuya, so I like that. And they beat Goro and Yoshihashi, and that might help set up something maybe later. Oh, know what that sets up? I'll tell you what it sets up. 3-way dance.
No. Well, as I've predicted it, semi-finals would be Ren and Shota against ELP and Hikuleo, I guess, and then Bishamon against War Dogs. So then probably the most interesting final for me would be Ren and Shota against the War Dogs, with Ren and Shota winning the tournament.
And that leaves Yoshihashi and Goto out, huh? Bishamon out of the mix. So what are they?
Yeah, I think... I mean, obviously they will be defending their tag titles at Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
But just based on current booking patterns, it's rare that the champion gets all the way to the final. Like we saw Sanada in the G1 made it to the semis,
right? I
think. So, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't even shock me if Bishamon didn't even make it out of their block. But I think they will. I think they'll make the semi-finals, but they won't make the final. So, yeah, Ren and Shota against War Dogs in the final, Ren and Shota to win, and then Ren and Shota to challenge for the tag titles proper against Bishamon at Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean, look, that would be beautiful. I would take that in a heartbeat. We'll see. I mean, it's let's put it this way: it's set up to do that, but we've been disappointed so many times that it's hard for me to commit. But sure, let's commit. Let's do it. That would be fine by me, and I think it'd be really good.
Musketeers. They labelled them the Musketeers. It wasn't like the press foisted that moniker on them against the will of the office. They called them the Musketeers. We cannot, like, this is the absolute least that they could do is give the World Tag League, and at the very least, like, this is nothing to make a big song and dance about.
Right.
But it's.
I mean, based off of past winners, you know, the illustrious team of David Finlay and Juice Robinson.
How dare you? But yeah, I mean, they have put a lot of time and effort into telling this Shota and Ren story. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that might be fun. And look, there's some interesting pairings in these blocks, like guys who are going to be facing off. Like we have all in the same block. We've got Kaito Kiyomiya and Gabe Kidd, and of course Shota and Ren. So seeing those guys all cross paths should be fun. Hanare meeting up with Mikey Nichols again.
Yeah,
oh boy, crazy shit they're going to do. So yeah, some yummy stuff there.
You think there's going to be any receipts? You think there's going to be a receipt given?
Fucking better be. Yeah.
Come on, Hanare, lay it in there. Nice and snug.
Yuya and Yota meeting each other again in B block, which I think that should be a portent of wonderful things to come in the future. Not a huge amount there in B block. I'd say A block is stronger, but there's definitely stuff that I'm interested in, and probably one of the stronger World Tag League lineups in recent history. They've not lumped them all together in a massive single block thing. I think that's a plus, and there's very few shitter teams in there. So
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's actually not bad. The people that are doing the podcasts, the teams that we have lined up for you, they should actually have some fun. There might be some fucking nuggets in there. Let's put it that way. There might be some nuggets in there that they get to talk about and discuss. I hope so. I hope so, because boy, oh boy, it could be dregs, but no, it looks on paper. It looks pretty nice.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.